Hi, hello, grade 9 students. Welcome to our LMS course in Science 9. This is your teacher Nori, again here in our learning video session. Okay, I do hope that you are able to prepare your ball pen, your journal notebook, and of course, the periodic table. Okay, are you ready? Of course, you are ready. But before that, try to check these objects. Okay, anong klaseng objects yan, ma'am? Yan. What do you see? It is a kind of a model ng ating atoms. At hindi lang ito basta atoms. So many atoms, no? Nakikita niyo, they are connected. They are bonded. Okay, bonded. Meaning to say, nakabanda silang tanan. Now, try to check again and again. This is not a toy, ha? It is what we call this an educational material for our organic compound. You've heard that, organic compound. Now, try to check this. Okay, what we have here is a kind of, again, it's still organic compound. And it is called a what? A benzene ring. Mhm. Ring. Kasi para daw siyang ring. So, try to check again kanina. Sabi ko, nakabond. Now, for today, we are about to discuss bonding. What is bonding? Why it is very important to know about bonding. Mhm. Did you know that benzene is a kind of organic compound that is very useful in industrial matters like making of plastics, making of pesticides, and most of all, in making of drugs, no? Kani makatabang ni siya isa sa mga primary ingredients para makagawa tayo ng iba't ibang synthetic products and even fibers. Okay? So, ibabalik ko lang ito and let's start. Okay, so ready tayo ha? Now, what we have here, okay, try to check our, ayan, it's Na and chlorine. But I just want you to know that this is a kind of bonding. It's different from the bonding na ipinakita ko sa inyo, yung mga, what you call that, yung mga atoms, no? Or yung mga carbons, okay? So this time, we're not going to relate carbons. But I just want to know na merong nangyayaring chemical bonding sa ating paligid, okay? Objectives, define ionic bonding. Number two, demonstrate the formation of an ionic bond using the common elements. And number three, relate the common properties of ionic bond. Okay, so ready na mga materials natin and let's have this kind of activity. Kindly open now your notebook and let's try to answer this picture analysis. Okay, what we have here is, oh, sama na ma'am, it is a microscopic view of sodium chloride formation. Okay, for please capture the slides that I have there, and then kasi magta-timer na naman si ma'am. Ready? In 10 seconds lang tayo ha, so try to observe. Go. Okay, so we're back. Tapos na. Now, how about try to answer this our guide questions. Okay, ready? So, capture again the picture and then after that, you're going to answer in 10 seconds. Ready? Go. Okay, time is up. Now, try to check your answers there. Now, ano yung common observations? Of course, meron tayong sodium and chlorine atom. And they are both chemicals. Can you see now is there was or there is a combination of atoms that can be found on the periodic table of elements. Okay, next. So number two, okay, for our number two, how this sodium chloride or salt was formed. Ready? In 10 seconds, go. time is up. Now let's go back to our question number two. Of course, formation of sodium chloride begins as sodium that is added to the chlorine. Added, no? Magidungagan lang siya. Ano lang kasimple. Ayun na pala lisod good. Just try to check lang. For our number three, what do you think? Okay, or what do you call this kind of chemical formation? Ready? In 10 seconds, go. Okay, time is up. So what do you think? Okay, if you answered the word chemical bonding, then fantastic. It's correct. It's all about chemical bonding. Okay, now what is chemical bonding? It is what? In the formation of a compound, atoms or ions combine to form molecules or groups of ions. There are forces of attraction that hold these particles together. It involves sharing and giving or even transferring of valence electrons. I do hope that please you were able to remember again the word cation. These are the positive and it involves metals, an ion, negative, and they are the non-metals. Okay, what holds an atom together? What did the atom of chlorine say to the atoms of sodium? Kasi makarelate ani sa atong love life. O yan, di ba? If you can check, si chlorine lipay kaayo, no? Ang si sodium nag-uros-uros ang gugma. Okay, ang ingon ni chlorine kay sodium, you complete me. Wow. Tinuod ka na siya? Nag-exist ka ng you complete me? Well, depende na sa ato ang experience. Okay, everyone is seeking stability. Stability refers to the strength to stand or resistance to chemical change or physical disintegration. Stability in atoms involves the possession of eight electrons in its outermost energy level of valence electron. Okay? Pag sa atoms na sila'y rule, na sila'y batas sa pag-ibig, kailangan daw makumpleto yung eight electrons nila. Later, we will discuss more about that eight electrons. Okay? Now, again, it refers to the what stability refers to the strength to stand or resistance of a chemical change. Always remember, everyone, not only atom, no, it also applies in our daily lives that everyone is seeking stability. Kisa man daw diri ang wala nagapangitag stability, di ba? Okay. So let's have this kind of okay, no? Yung words ng possession of eight electrons. Now, try to check. Valence electrons, kani siya, remember, particular ni ani na diagram. If you can remember in our Lewis dot symbol, itong red colors, ito yung valence electrons natin. And they are occupying the highest energy level in an atom. Now, remember, atoms of all elements, therefore, to become stable, have to what? Eight valence electrons. Para stable daw yung atom natin, they need eight valence electrons. Ngano dili man jud 9 or 10. Bakit 8? Mo na siguro swerte ang 8, no? Okay. So ang tawag natin diyan in chemistry is very good. Octet rule. That was actually proposed by Gilbert Newton Lewis, an American chemist. Okay, what we have here is that during compound formation, the tendency of an atom to share or transfer valence electrons to another atom just to complete an octet of valence electrons. Ito yung tinatawag na octet rule. So sa gugma di ay or sa bonding di ay sa ato ang mga chemical elements, they follow rules. Okay? In humans, usa ato ang rules. Wala man tay octet rule, di ba? Ang human lahi man jud. Ang atong ginapangita kay again still stability. And daghan kay tag definitions how do we define the word stability. But in the chemical elements, ang ilang kine-refer na stability is the octet rule. Okay, why do atoms form chemical bonds? So atoms can accommodate 8 electrons in its valence shell in 3 ways. Number 1, by giving valence shell electrons if they are less than 3 to other atoms. Number 2, by gaining electrons from other atoms. We need to say if the valence shell has 5 or more electrons. And number 3, by sharing of valence electrons. Okay? Remember ha? So, unsaon man ni pag-accommodate yung 8 electrons in its valence shell? Remember, giving. Kinsa mo hatag og electrons? Katong mga atoms na naay less than 3 valence, pagkatong have 5 or more electrons or valence electrons, sila ang maka-gain. And kinsa ang mo share? Pwede po na siya mo share po ang valence electrons. Okay? It is a universal rule that everything in this world tends to become more stable. Atoms achieve stability by attaining the electronic configuration of noble gases. Sa Bisaya pa, kay nung atong nagimo tag arrow up, arrow down. Okay, ang mga atoms gikan sa left padulong sa right except the noble gases, gusto sila mo pariha sa pagka-stable sa noble gases. Yes, kung balikan na to atong periodic table, yung pinaka last part, the outermost right part bitaw sa ato ang periodic table, na sila'y 8 na ka electrons. So sila ang pinaka-stable sa tanan. Ni ambisyosa maning mga grupo dere up to here. Gusto nila na mo pareha sa mga noble gases. Okay? Okay, but of course, they have to form compound. Ano, kailangan man sila mag-form of compound para makumpleto ang ilang. Kaya naraman sila kanya-kanyang valence electrons. So, ikaw daw be, unsa nimo panghimong kumpleto kung wala kay kauban, 'di ba? Oh, char, hugot na kay si ma'am. So what we have here is let's try this. Okay? Please capture the screen para mas ma-internalize ninyo and then answer the guide questions. Ready? Okay. How many valence electron does sodium have? So this is sodium. And how many valence electron does chlorine have? Okay? In timer, 5 seconds. Okay, time is up. So what we have here now is very good. Our sodium, what? Meron siyang isang valence electron, while chlorine, 7 valence electron. Next, how many electrons does chlorine need to complete its outer shell? Sa Bisaya pa, tanawa ang iyahang dots, Lewis dot symbol, pila ka book ang kailangan para makumpleto. Unsay ba siya sa kompleto? 8 ka electrons. While sodium, how many electrons does sodium need to lose to be left with a complete shell? Ready? 5 seconds, go. Okay, time is up. So what we have here is, yan, sino nagsagot ng 1? No? Ang kailangan ni chlorine. Very good. Obviously, isang electron lang kailangan niya. While kisa may muhatag sa iyang electron. Of course, si sodium. 1 pa rin yung electron na ibibigay or i-lose ni electron ni sodium. Why is it gani na si sodium kailangan muhatag, ma'am? Remember, it is a metal, and metal has what? Lower electronegativity. Meaning to say, dali ra siya makahatag o makalus og electron. Si chlorine, high electronegativity, high ionization energy. So, dili siya basta-basta makahatag og electrons. It is a non-metal. O, diba? Dili na jud magamit ang inyong knowledge about ionization energy and electronegativity. For number 5, try to check our picture. Diba? Nana siya arrow. Since sodium lost 1 electron, what is its charge? And what do we call a positively charged ion? Ready? 5 seconds. Go. Okay, so remember the ion and anion? Very good. Now, sodium lost one electron. Kung siya man ang nawad electron, pahimo siyang positive. And what do you call this positively charged? Cation. Very good. Now, number 5. Since chlorine gained, siya ang naka-receive, nakadungag siya isa ka electron, what do you call its charge? And what do you call this negatively charged? Ready? 5 seconds. Go. Okay, time is up. So what is the answer? Very good. The answer is isa ang natagaan sa iya, so one negative, and then ang tawag sa iya is anion. Okay? So ibalik yun ninyo ang inyong understanding about ion and anion. Now, number 6, do the charges balance? What is the chemical formula for this compound and what do you call this compound? Ready? In 10 seconds. Ready? Go. Okay, time is up. So what we have here is, of course, they are balanced and the chemical formula is sodium chloride and the name of that compound is salt. Okay, try to check this, no? So positive 1, ngano positive 1 gani kay naghatag siya. Ngano nag plus chlorine that's negative 1 kay natagaan siya. So pag combine ana, we have Na positive 1, chlorine negative 1. So kani representation lang na siya na ang Lewis dot symbol. Okay? So generally non-metals have high electronegativity and chlorine higher its tendency to attract electron. Metals have low ionization energy and it is easier to remove its valence electrons. By giving valence electrons, di ba si sodium kay less than 3 valence electrons, so automatic qualified siya na muhatag. Okay, mo lagi na no sa tinuod na kinabuhi. Kung kinsa pa ang naigamay na kayamanan maupay muhatag no. Sa tinuod na kinabuhi na. Okay. These are ionic bonding or these are ionic compounds or example of ionic compound. So what is ionic compounds? They are made up of ions or charged particles, a bonding by transfer of electrons, a kind of chemical bond which exists only between the metals and the non-metals. Again, transfer of electrons, metals, and non-metals. Okay. Now, para mas madalita, what are the steps in the formation of an ionic bond? Ready? Okay. So, of course, number 1, you have to get the valence electrons of the elements in the compound by looking at its family number in Roman numerals. For example, sodium family 1A, therefore 1 valence. Chlorine family 7A, therefore 7. So you have to write or draw the Lewis dot symbol. Okay? Or Lewis electron dot symbol. Kasi mas madali yan. Ito na yung pinaka-importanting role ni Lewis dot symbol. Okay? Next, transfer the electron by using arrow, kasi mas madali kung merong arrow, of the element who have lesser to the element who have higher electrons to become stable. And 4, write the ions, cations if it's positive and ions if it's negative. If the element gives an electron, then it will have positive. If the element receive electron, it's a negative. So, pranion. Pila ang gihatag ni sodium? Isa. So, unsay charge? Positive. Next, pila ang nahatag o na-receive ni chlorine? Negative, isa. Then, may mo siyang negative. So, imo nang i-combine, sodium plus 1, chlorine negative 1. And write the formula of the compound by combining the elements with their ions as a subscript. So, subscript, okay? Since the electron is only one, you can write only the signs or only the elements. So, kani siya guide, di siya na naa sa inyuhang SLM. But kani, gi-superscript Andre, parihala na sila. Okay? So the energy needed to remove an electron is known as ionization. In the case of chlorine, it accepts electrons that are being transferred that is made up also or made possible as electron affinity is met. What is electron affinity? It is a measure of how much energy is released when an electron is gained by certain atom. So, si sodium nag-lose ng electron and chlorine gains electron. So, natagaan, nakadawat, automatic they are stable. So, inanaunta no in real life sa human kung kisa ang naghata give and take no. More inana pod applicable pod siya sa tawag na a genuine relationship. It is a give and take. Okay, pero ma'am, give and take, kung saan may gihatag ni chlorine, no? Wala man. Si chlorine, ang yang naatag kay sodium, wala. Pero, na-stable silang duha. Sodium chloride, nakabuo sila ng compound. Okay, so due to the presence of a strong force of attraction between cations and anions in ionic bonded molecules, the following properties are observed. Number one, ionic bonds are the strongest of all the bonds. Remember that, strongest. Number two, the ionic bond has charge separation, so they are the most reactive of all the bonds in the proper medium. Strongest and most reactive. Then they have also high melting and boiling point. And of course, they are good conductors of electricity. This is due to the presence of ions which acts as a charge carriers. Okay? Basta naaga ni si positive, negative, naka-charge na yan. So meaning to say, they're good, no? Sort of good conductors. But I'm not telling na it's a high conductor. It's just a good conductor. Ionic bonds are important because they allow synthesis of specific organic compounds. Scientists can easily manipulate ionic properties and these interactions in order to form desired products. So remember, number one, atoms of all elements, therefore, to become stable, have to have 8 valence electrons. That's according to their octet rule. Number two, atoms can accommodate 8 electrons. Timan ilang dyan ni A, giving valence electrons if less than 3 ang yang valence. 2, gaining electrons. Say gaining, matagaan siya. If 5 or more than valence electrons, ug ang ikatulo, sharing. But actually, what we have here is itong dalawa, giving and gaining. Si sharing, mamaya na yan. And of course, number 3, ionic compounds are made up of ions or charged particles. They are bonding by transfer of electrons between metals and non-metals. Okay, so that's it. I do hope that you were able to learn again in our chemical bond, especially in ionic bonding. Okay, so thank you for your time and listening. Please keep in tune to my YouTube channel. Of course, para po ni sa ato ang LMS course. Keep on learning. Don't stop here in my video session. And maningkamot, magtuon, magbasa-basa, magtuon. Okay? Goodbye!